Your car should keep you alive. In extreme cold, it kills you faster. The danger isn't what's happening outside. It's what's happening inside, between your body and your car. It comes from the moment you're stranded, engine running or not. A car doesn't hold heat. It steals it. Metal pulls warmth from your body like a vacuum. Glass beams it into the night sky. And metal conducts heat 400 times faster than wood. Every contact point is draining you. It happens fast. 15 minutes, thinking slows. 30 minutes, judgment fails. 90 minutes, your survival instincts betray you. You feel warmer while your body shuts down. Inside, it feels calm. Your phone dies. The silence makes you think you have time. You don't. The test. Your car dies at minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit. You see lights about 400 yards away. Do you? A. Stay inside. B. Walk to those lights. C. Burn clothing for heat inside the car. Most people choose wrong. You'll see why in a moment. But first, you need to understand what your car does to your body and what your body does in response. When a car loses power in extreme cold, most people assume the cabin will trap their body heat, like a sleeping bag or a small insulated room. It won't. A car's structure is built for strength and visibility, not thermal retention. Without the engine producing heat, you become the only heat source, about 100 watts, the same as a dim light bulb. And that's not enough. The vehicle that felt protective a minute ago is now a conductive trap. Every surface around you is tuned to pull heat, not keep it. Remember the question from a hook. What is your body doing? And what is your car doing back to you? Start with the first mechanism, conduction, the heat draining straight through every point your body touches. Metal and glass conduct heat roughly 400 times faster than wood. You're not touching bare metal at first, but the thin layers of fabric, foam, and plastic warm quickly. Beneath them, the steel frame is a massive heat sink. The moment those surface layers saturate, heat begins bleeding through to the frame. You can't stop it. Your body becomes a battery with a wire plugged directly into the cold. Then comes radiation. Your body emits infrared heat continuously, over 500 watts total. Indoors, you absorb almost as much as you give off. In a freezing car, you absorb almost nothing. Every window becomes a radiator, sending your heat straight into the outside environment. The cabin can be sealed tight, and you'll still be warming the air outside. Finally, convection. In a motionless, sealed cabin, it's the weakest mechanism, but it still steals warmth. Warm air rises toward the roof, cools against the glass, then sinks around your feet and legs. This slow circulation prevents warm air from forming a protective layer around your body. Any heat you generate gets mixed, diluted, and carried away. And here's the part that fools almost everyone. The cabin air temperature can drop 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit per minute at first, but your core cools slowly, maybe half a degree every 10 minutes. Too slow to trigger panic. Your skin senses change, not absolute danger. A gradual fall feels survivable, even as your core temperature drifts toward hypothermia. And here's the final trap of car insulation. It works both ways. Once the engine stops, the car isn't a shelter, it's a refrigerator. Cold gets in, and heat stays out. People die with their coats still zipped because the cabin felt fine until it wasn't. You now know the cold will always win. So here's the question your survival depends on. What kills you first? Letting the engine run until you run out of fuel at 4 a.m., or turning it off and letting the temperature freefall? We answer that paradox in next sections. People who freeze to death in cars almost never feel reckless. They feel reasonable. These 3 cases show how your survival instinct can either kill you or save you. Case 1, whiteout drift. A man, 29, in North Dakota stepped out to walk the short distance to a farmhouse he knew was nearby. Whiteout snow erased the horizon. No shadows, no depth, no forward. He drifted sideways without feeling it, walking a slow arc instead of straight line. He collapsed and died just 42 feet from his car, still facing the direction he believed was safety. Case 2, terminal burrowing. In Wyoming, a stranded driver, 34, was found curled into the rear footwell. Knees tucked, head down, body folded into a space too small for comfort. This wasn't panic. It was a brainstem reflex triggered by severe hypothermia, the body seeking the smallest enclosed space it can find, like an animal trying to den. He had blankets and room to lie flat, but rational thought was already gone. The cold didn't kill him instantly. His perception did. Case 3, the baseline survivor. A woman, 41, trapped in her rolled SUV during a Utah blizzard, stayed inside for nearly 72 hours. She insulated with floor mats, blocked drafts, rotated her body position, and stayed awake through the first critical night. Her core temperature dropped into early hypothermia, but she never left the vehicle and never entered the disorientation spiral. Rescuers found her dehydrated, weak, but conscious because she made fewer decisions, not more. The difference between case 1 and case 3 wasn't luck. It was a failed or successful instinct override. If you've ever experienced that instant sensory blindness in a dense whiteout, drop a danger below. If you haven't, you don't know true helplessness. Section shows why your brain miscalculates all three of these situations, sometimes fatally. If you were stranded at minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit right now, engine dying, no cell signal, what would you do? A. Stay inside and wait. B. Run the engine in intervals. C. Walk toward distant lights. Most people choose wrong. Next section shows why your brain pushes you toward the fatal choice, even when you think you're being reasonable. Most people think freezing to death is a physical failure. It isn't. Inside a stranded vehicle, it's usually a psychological one, a collapse of judgment disguised as confidence. And it begins with one of the strangest, most counterintuitive symptoms in all of survival science. 1. The shock opener, paradoxical undressing. The final stage of hypothermia often looks like the opposite of dying. People start taking their clothes off. Up to 25% of hypothermia victims are found partially or fully undressed, convinced they're suddenly overheating. This isn't panic. It's physiology failing. After hours of intense vasoconstriction, your exhausted blood vessels suddenly release. Warm blood rushes back to the skin, and your brain misreads this flash of heat as full recovery. You feel better. You feel warm. You feel safe. And because you feel better, your decision-making collapses even faster. 2. The hiding reflex, terminal burrowing. Right after this false warmth spike, a deeper instinct takes over. The brainstem, not the thinking mind, issues a primitive command: hide. Victims crawl under seats, behind dashboards, or wedge themselves into strange corners of the vehicle. It's not logical. It's not strategic. It's the ancient mammalian reflex to seek a den, darkness, and enclosure in the final stage of cold stress. This is why people are found in positions that make no sense, but make perfect instinctive sense. 3. The risk bias that ignores the trap. But the real danger begins long before the undressing or the burrowing. Statistically, the group most likely to die in winter vehicle emergencies is men aged 35 to 65. Not because they're weaker, but because they're more confident. This is risk confidence bias. The belief that turning back is failure, that I can make it, that distance is small, that weather is beatable. It's cognitive drift, using summer logic in a winter environment. This bias is the reason so many victims die within yards of safety. Check your body memory. Have you ever been so cold you couldn't make a fist, or felt a brief wave of warmth when you absolutely shouldn't? That moment, the false warmth, the clumsy hands, is the exact point your judgment begins to fail. Section 4 shows how to override that failure. If previous section showed how cold kills your judgment, this section gives you the system that replaces judgment entirely. Because in a winter vehicle emergency, survival isn't about toughness. It's about protocol, a sequence of steps so simple you can do them half asleep, half frozen, or half panicked. Here is the cold stall protocol, the method used by search and rescue trainers across the northern US and Canada. Before doing anything, you anchor the situation. Stay inside. Stay put. Stay visible. Movement is death. Stillness is survival. Even trained snowmobilers repeat this to themselves out loud to override the instinct to wander. If you're saying, I'd still try to walk, that's exactly the bias section 3 warned you about. Your vehicle is now a makeshift survival chamber. You reduce air leaks immediately. Close all vents except one small opening for airflow. Push floor mats, coats, or bags against door gaps. Cover the dashboard with anything reflective to push warmth back down. Most hypothermia deaths in cars happen not from temperature, but drafts. A small leak can drop interior temp by 15 degrees Fahrenheit, warming the whole car. Waste energy. You warm your core only using floor mat, seat covers, blankets, spare clothes, even trash bags, instant vapor barriers. Create a cocoon, not a room. Keep your feet elevated, cold sinks, and toes freeze first. If the engine still runs, run it 10 minutes every 30 to 40 minutes. Any more, and snow accumulation or blocked exhaust can kill you with carbon monoxide. During every run, crack a window opposite the wind, clear the tailpipe with a branch, scraper, or gloved hand, shut it down again. This single step prevents 60% of winter vehicle deaths. Your goal isn't to be loud, it's to be findable. Interior dome light on, minimal battery draw, hazard lights and intervals, bright items or reflectors tied to the antenna if snowed in, tap rhythmically on the roof every 15 minutes. Rescuers listen for rhythm. It's a human signature. Every 10 minutes, repeat a simple diagnostic. Warm, awake, breathing steady, shelter sealed. If all 4 are true, you're stable. This loop keeps your brain from drifting into bad decisions. Quick check. If your vehicle slid, off a rural road tonight. Which of these 6 steps would you forget first? Next section shows why winter rescue follows predictable waves and how to survive until the next one hits. Winter search and rescue doesn't move in straight lines. It moves in waves, predictable surges shaped by visibility, wind, extreme cold, and human behavior. And the triggers for these waves are just as predictable. The first deep freeze of the year, sudden temperature plunges of 20 degrees Fahrenheit in a few hours, and polar vortex drops that turn wet roads into black ice traps almost instantly. If you understand these waves, you could survive far longer than you think. Wave 1. The behavioral lag. First 0 to 3 hours after stranding. Most winter fatalities begin in this window, not because conditions are worst, but because people behave like it's still autumn. This is the first freeze effect. Drivers overestimate traction, underestimate black ice hiding beneath powder, and assume they can beat the storm. During Wave 1, visibility is dropping, but roads aren't buried yet. Plows are still running, local drivers are still out, and first responders can still reach rural areas quickly if they know your location. This is your best chance for a rapid rescue, but only if you stay inside the vehicle. Walking now almost always moves you out of the search zone, not into it. If you hear distant engines, that's Wave 1 passing right by you. Wave 2. The silence wall, 2 to 12 hours. This is the deadliest phase. Wind strengthens. Roads close. Plows pull back. Search teams stand down for safety. Your world becomes white, silent, static, and disorienting. This is also when rural road physics turn against you. Blowing snow creates drifts that can bury a vehicle up to the windows in under an hour. A car becomes an invisible lump in a blank landscape, hidden from drivers, plows, and search teams. Most hypothermia deaths happen here because silence convinces people that rescue has stopped. They leave the vehicle, and once they step into a whiteout, they vanish. If you survive Wave 2 without abandoning your car, your odds skyrocket. Wave 3. The grid restart, 12 to 36 hours. When snowfall eases, the rescue machine comes back online. Priority routes reopen. First responders sweep high-probability zones. Drivers report stranded vehicles. Aerial searches may deploy where available. This is the highest probability rescue window. If your car is intact and you follow the cold stall protocol, you're almost guaranteed to be found in Wave 3. Picture this. You're driving a rural highway at night. The kind with no fences, no houses, nothing to anchor your eyes. Snow sweeps sideways across the beams. The temperature is falling faster than the fuel gauge. Then the drift hits. Your tires slide, the shoulder disappears, and the world tilts as the vehicle drops into the ditch. The engine coughs, stutters, and dies with a soft mechanical sigh. The seatbelt locks across your chest. Silence. Outside, it's minus 25 degrees Fahrenheit. Inside, the dashboard glow fades to black. Your phone shows 1 bar, then nothing. This is the moment every victim in this video faced. Some walked, some hid, some made one wrong decision at the exact wrong time. But now you know the pattern. The physics that drain a car's heat, the real cases that show what choices kill, the psychology that lies to you, the protocol that buys you hours, and the rescue waves that prove silence is temporary. Your car is no longer a coffin. It's a shelter you know how to operate. Here's the mindset shift that keeps people alive. Cold operates on physics. It doesn't care how tough you are. Preparation is the only variable you control. And here's the field-tested micro rule. If you can't see your car from 20 feet, you cannot judge distance to anything. That's the threshold where walking becomes drifting. So here's the verdict. The payoff for watching all the way through. You stay in the car. You idle 10 minutes per hour. You insulate your core. You wait for Wave 3. Walking kills. Add 1 survival item to your car this week. A Mylar blanket, a candle can, or a heavy coat. Comment which one you commit to. I'll read every answer.